So moving forward here, having said that, number 27, he says, jñānavarjitā, jñānahīnacit, jñānamasti-kiṁ, jñātumantaram. Look at the beauty of the word used here. Free from knowledge of objects. Jñānavarjitā. When you are not in the knowledge that you think is your knowledge, when you drop that knowledge, what is my knowledge? My knowledge is of objects, my body, my this and my that, and my everything about me. First person, second person, third person, everything is me. My all definitions, my jnana of the knowledge that I have of objects, when I drop that free, when I become free from that knowledge, free from the knowledge of objects, ajñānahīnacit. He says that free from ignorance of awareness. If you drop the knowledge of things, and if you drop the ignorance of the awareness, that's what you need to do. We are not in touch with our own awareness. We have ignorance of that. We need to drop that ignorance. We are so much enamored by the knowledge of the objects, we need to drop that. So drop this and hold this, awareness, drop the objects. Jñānavarjitā, drop the object. Jñānahīnacit, become aware of the awareness. Have the knowledge of the awareness that you are. jñānamasti-kiṁ, jñātumantaram. Is there asti-kiṁ? Is there anything else to be known? Is there any other knowledge you need to gain other than dropping the false knowledge and holding on to the real awareness? Jñātumantaram. Is there any distance to be traversed? None. Anything else to be done? None. Is there anything else to be known other than being free from knowledge of objects and free from ignorance of awareness? That's the gist of this verse. Ignorance of awareness is ignorance of oneself. It's not the absence of the experience, it's the experience of the absence. True knowledge, I'm going to read the translation here. True knowledge is beyond what we think of as knowledge or ignorance. Because in the state of non-differentiation, what other thing is to be known? He is dispelling the ultimate duality. He says if there is no differentiation between you and the awareness, that's all you need to merge with. Is there anything else to be known or gained? None. Atma Bodha in verse number 64 also says the same thing. Atma Bodha by Shankaracharya. And I'm just going to read the translation that I have made my notes here of. Verse 64 of Atma Bodha says, all that is perceived, all that is perceived, all that is heard is Brahman and nothing else. Attaining the knowledge of reality, one sees the universe as the non-dual Brahman, which is existence, knowledge, bliss. A question had come up, will the world disappear? If I'm self-realized, will the world disappear? No, the world will not disappear. My perception of the world would not remain real for me. That's exactly what Shankaracharya said here. All that is perceived, all that is heard is Brahman and nothing else. Attaining the knowledge of reality, one sees the universe as the non-dual Brahman. So then the universe, then the world that clamors me all the time does not affect me. I still function. I still go to the post office and I still go and do the grocery. And I still go to the bank to draw money, to take a flight. And yet I'm completely unattached to all the results, all the actions, and I'm not faced by it. I'm not perturbed by it. So jñānavarjitā, ajñānahīnacit, jñānamasti-kiṁ, jñātumantaram. True knowledge is beyond what we think of as knowledge or ignorance, because in the state of non-differentiation, what other thing is to be known?
Okay, Bandhu.
Yes, Peter.
Drop knowledge of the objects. Could we go into a little bit more about what's implied by dropping knowledge of objects?
First object is body. My identification, my body. I think I'm Peter, I'm Bandhu, Frank, and it doesn't leave me. And so anything that happens to the body is closest to me. I shouldn't get this, or I shouldn't have this. My body should remain perfect. That's the first object, big object. Second big object is my own definition about myself. Who am I? And my mind goes to the worldly things, not to the ultimate who am I. But I immediately start saying, I was born of these parents, or I was born here, or this is my religion, or my education, or my money, or whatever. Whatever grips my fancy is how I describe myself. And then on, my house and my economic status and my accolades of whatever profession I'm in, my if I'm an artist or whatever attributes I've accumulated is what I consider to be myself. And these teachings, whether it be Ramana Maharshi's or whether it be any other religion, doesn't matter. This is totally non-denominational. All point us to the same thing. I am that I am. I am not all these things. I am not this religious person or the religion that I am I follow such and such religion, or I follow such and such master, or my Ishtadevata is such and such, or I live in this country, or my health is such. All those definitions are beyond me because they are not under my control. I think they are under my control, but they are not. Because when things change, I'm not able to control the change. I accept it. And yet I say I don't want any change. That's the dichotomy that exists in me. That's the limitation of my mind, or rather the viciousness of my mind that does not let me go beyond it. So dropping the definition of the objects is to not own anything, not take pride in what I define myself with, and let it merge with the ultimate. And to constantly say in meditation, Sohamityaso bhavana bhida, as Bhagavan has said, what kind of meditation should you have? He said, your meditation should be continuous. Not only when you decide to sit down and meditate in a posture. Neither the posture nor the time is necessary. You should be continuously in meditation as if I am Soham. I am that I am. Always, all my actions should be like that. And therefore, once we begin to make some headway, we begin to see the colossal expanse of that feeling. And no one else comes to know about it. We only come to know about it. When we try to paraphrase it, it sounds pedestrian. It sounds very rudimentary. It sounds very unimportant to anybody else because it cannot be paraphrased in words. But the feeling is vast, that you are not affected if you lose money. You're not affected if you are trampled. You are not affected as much to go into a state of depression if you are laid off. That's what happens. The world is still there, and yet I'm removed from my world. It does not affect me. And if we stay with that kind of maturity of thought, then we eventually become totally detached from the world. To be born, unfortunately, yet to be born many, many times, but being born again and again. And then in some life, we are born as an exalted soul. We are born like that. From day one, we are detached, we are beyond the world, sans any attributes. And that's why the most self-realized souls don't have anything with them. hardly have any possessions, no house, no place, no parampara. They don't ever appoint or anoint a disciple. They don't have a single disciple. They all have they just have devotees. Did it make any sense, Peter? That's the only way. That's the only way to approach it. Keep approaching it that way. Objects will not go away. House is not going to vanish, or my jacket is not going to vanish in thin air. I would still have to wear these clothes when I go out, and I still would have to will not be able to walk in a kopina because I'm so still cognizant of my own body. That's the way to begin to look at it.